Hey everybody, Substatica here. Welcome to the first video on my new channel, Substatica Reacts. On this channel, I'm going to be reacting to and breaking down teasers, trailers, gameplay footage, news, presentations, all things VR related. If that sounds good to you, click the S in the corner to subscribe. In this video, I'm going to be reacting to and breaking down Skydance's Behemoth, due out later this year for PSVR 2, PCVR and Meta Quest. I've put a lot of time into The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 Retribution, playing the games, modding the games, going through the source files, so I've got a good amount of experience to lend to commentary on this gameplay footage. So let's dive in. Just going to rewind the video here. And right away I'm seeing we have a grab indicator here on this weapon, this little dot, similar to The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, showing that we can pick that up, as well as what's probably a holster slot here. This alphaed out white circle is going to be where we can place one of our weapons on our hip. So let's continue. And then switching the grip on the knife, that audio cue sounds like it's the same as The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I love that mechanic, lots of fun. Good to see it coming back. Now, I kind of expect that this game is built on the Skydance interactive engine, which lays on top of Unreal Engine, and then the game code lays on top of that. And that's why we're likely to see a lot of similar mechanics as the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners series. All right, good old smash. Sheathing sound. It's not going to be a lot different, but it does sound like Saints and Sinners. That's cool. So, as I understand it, this weapon is a hero weapon, so it has that ability of distance grab, that you can throw it and pull it back like that. Not all weapons are going to have that ability, and you'll find this, I guess, somewhere during the progression of the game. These are checkpoints or save points along the way. From what I understand, the game is more linear than the Saints and Sinners series. So these would be more akin to checkpoints than save points. This looks good, kind of a climb mechanic that we've seen before. Not so much in Saints and Sinners. Okay, here we've got what looks like grappling points. We've got a UI indicator there, but also we have these timbers with yellow rope wrapped around them that seems to indicate that we can use our grappling hook on those elements. And that's very similar to Horizon Call of the Mountain. And we yank ourselves up, hit the next one. That seems like a single button press to both shoot the grappling hook and pull yourself up. I don't see any gesture happening there. And here we've got kind of a cool hand-over-hand mechanic. Although this whole scene, while I've heard that that's a specific mechanic, it does look rather scripted. I doubt that there's any other way that you can open that gate. So you're kind of forced to do the grappling and hand-over-hand, whether it's an animation or a mechanic. I don't think it matters that much.
You must be here for healing. I can provide you with...
So here we've got a merchant that's going to sell us some ingredients for healing or teach us how to do it. I'm noticing that there's no mouth movement, there's no lip sync here, and that's going to be kind of a theme of this footage, I think.
What you need. Even with your strength, hunting a behemoth is perilous. Crafting medicine from common plants will improve your chances.
The grab on that helmet looks good, so there's a good collision mesh on this helmet. It's not just a sphere. You can actually grab inside it. Now, in The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, there's various grab points on an item. You can't just grab it anywhere. It depends on the item. Some weapons with long handles will allow you to grab anywhere along that handle, but most non-weapon items have two specific grab points, one for the left hand, one for the right hand, and you can't really change where you grab the item. But this looks good.
You'll find what you need in your inventory. Approach the crafting table.
So she gave us some sort of herb, and you heard a noise, an audio cue, to tell us that that was added to our inventory. That, again, is very similar to The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners.
Pick up the healer's...
So here we've got a crafting table of sorts, some recipes up here, some drawers for ingredients over here. Again, we've got a grab indicator, quite a bit larger than the one we saw on the weapon earlier. I don't know if that happens when you actually target it with your hand, and that indicates that that's what you're going to pick up, whereas the smaller one, it's available to pick up, but you haven't targeted it yet. Not sure.
Plants. Now shake the pouch a few times to craft the medicine.
So that's kind of a fun mechanic, crafting medicine.
Good start.
It doesn't really show where we put that, but... So we heard an audio cue there of the weapons hitting when it really didn't seem like they hit. So with these swordplay games, that's kind of a common thing that happens where there's kind of false positives on collision. We also see here that the axe is not actually in our hand. Maybe that'll correct on the next frame, but that grip pose may need some adjustment. And when we caught that second axe, there was another audio cue that didn't seem quite right. Again, this is early gameplay footage, so a lot of these issues will likely be solved in the release. Here, I guess it's trying to show that we can dual wield. We also see some of the curse or infection that afflicts the protagonist in this game. Textures look really nice. That's cool, and we see that a couple times, so I'm going to rewind that. This is another mechanic that looks like it's a single button press for the grappling to distance pull a weapon to your hand. That's going to be fun. Two-handing a weapon, always great. That's a nice touch. And here we get kind of a close-up look at the curse or the affliction that I assume is going to grow. Alright, it looks like we activate it by clenching our fists, and then it recedes. So that's going to power us up, I suppose, in the game. Okay, we've got some combat. Alright, so we do see the enemy swinging through as we try to parry. I'm not sure which of these are hits. Some of the parries, or successful parries, are really obvious in that the enemy is interrupted and is staggered, and then others they seem to follow through with their attack. So I'm not sure if all of those are successful parries when we see the sparks, or just some of them. Also, I'd like to point out that I don't see a lot of UI on the screen. I don't see a health bar, I don't see a stamina bar, there's no inventory indicators aside from the holster slots, and I really like that. I like minimal UI. Helps with immersion. That's awesome, pulling enemies in with the grappling. Throwing them around. That's really cool. We grab him by his chest plate and just toss him. Cleave that guy's head right off. So one of the things that maybe isn't ideal is that after these enemies get staggered, after we successfully parry them, they kind of turn to the side like they're winded and then crouch over. Not the best thing to do in combat, but that gives us the opportunity to just cut them in half. Yeah, right there he kind of gets tired out and decides to just turn to the side and let us end him. This is really cool. So we've got an arrow coming through the shield. I've heard another creator say that you can grab this arrow and use it yourself. So you can actually farm arrows that have been shot into your shield. So that's a very cool mechanic. Of course, he brought a bow to a dagger fight, apparently. So this is an instance where we see the enemy attack, and it looks like we parry, but he actually follows through. So I'm not sure whether that counts as a hit or a parry. And then we've got his friend just kind of waiting back here for his turn. Everybody gets a turn. It'd be nice to see them all attacking at once, but that's going to get pretty hectic with swordplay and trying to parry two of them. Alright, you saw us throw our sword, and it actually hit him in the shoulder, and we see that wound here. But it didn't kill him, so he proceeds to attack us. Probably not the best decision on his part. Yeah. Dagger to the face. So there we saw that hand-over-hand pull when it's applied to an enemy. And that yanked him forwards. We didn't just grapple. We did the grapple, hand-hand pull. So that's pretty cool. Turn to the side, and we lay him down. That was nice. So we deflected a thrown blade there, if I can get back to that spot. Deflected it with our own weapon, and then threw our weapon. So that's a nice mechanic. Grappled him in the leg and pulled him off. Another fun mechanic. We've got a bit of stealth there, but it didn't last long. So I'm guessing he alerted and they couldn't get the full stealth kill gameplay footage, but hopefully that's going to be in the final game. There we took off that enemy's helmet. So I assume if we want to hit him in the head, we've got to take off the helmet first and then hit him in the head. As you can see, the enemies all seem to have their mouths covered, which means they can vocalize without the need for lip syncing. Here we're dual wielding. And a good old head stab. Wouldn't be a Skydance game without a head stab now. So that sounds like it's hitting the wood handle of the axe rather than the blade. Different sound. So that's pretty cool. And then we got a steel-on-steel clang at the end. Yep. Get parried, turn to the side, accept your fate. Knife wins over bow again. That's fun. So you can see that again we have the yellow rope indicating that we can interact with that element with our grappling hook. And in this case, we introduce that opponent to the log. Everybody loves the log. That was pretty slick. So, at first glance, it looks like we catch that arrow and then fire it back. But in actuality, we fired our grappling hook at that arrow, and it's the grappling that caught it and brought it back. So it's the same as us grabbing a weapon from the ground or from the air with the grappling hook. That's the grappling hook there. So while it looks like we just caught the arrow and then knocked it and sent it back, we actually fired our grappling at it. The grappling brought it to our hand, and then we knocked it and shot it back. Although the arrow is really thin. I'm not sure why that is. Then we got a big old fist key.
So many of my kin dead by your hands.
A boss fight.
Your blood will cleanse these grounds.
Again, his mouth is covered, so no lip syncing there. Voice acting's great. We grapple a weapon off the ground, destroy his shield, and not looking good. That's a cool death scene. That he's kind of flailing his arms, got a nice blood spurt there.
Outsider! No matter what hole you crawl into, we will find you! Shred your flesh and eat it raw!
Now we get to see a behemoth. And this is the one we've seen before, I think. With his wrecking ball. Kind of sea lion-esque. The tusks. Okay, nothing really to say about that little picturesque stroll. So here we have what looks to be one of the wrecking balls attached to a behemoth. And then we have some NPCs that are worshipping it. Now, I don't know whether they're just flat out worshipping it for the sake of it, or whether they're trying to wake it up in a ritual. Seems to me like maybe wake it up. And it does wake up. I would have liked to have seen more of how we actually fight the behemoths, but I guess that's coming later. We do get indication of some of the mechanics. Now, there's something under his neck there. And we'll see later there's like a medallion. So maybe that is the spot that we have to attack to defeat behemoths? Not sure. You saw there we have this red cross. I think that's indicating that a power attack from the behemoth is coming, and we probably shouldn't stay where we are. Right, there you see the medallion I was talking about, kind of covered in rope. So I think this is protecting it, so my guess is we'll have to destroy this protective cover, destroy those ropes, and then make off with this medallion or shatter it or something like that. And maybe that's keeping these behemoths bound rather than free. Who knows? Yeah, he's a bit angry. Kind of an elephant cross with a sea lion. Again, we saw that red cross indication. in the previous trailer, I did notice an either blue or white cross on a behemoth's foot. So I don't know if that's going to be a target you can shoot or whether it's just another indication of an incoming attack. I don't think we really need the indication on the wrecking ball. It's pretty obvious when he's winding that thing up. Yeah, saw the red cross there again. And there we go. That is the 9 minutes of footage that was released for Skydance's Behemoth, coming later this year to PSVR 2, PCVR, and Meta Quest. And if you're interested in more reactions and breakdowns to VR-related content, click the S in the corner to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.